Shady bunch. The shady bunch. What's the way they became the shady bunch? What is the way they became the shady bunch? We should replace the pictures on this shirt with some Bitcoin core devs and some fake Bitcoiners out there pretending to be 100% Bitcoiners, but they are not. There's nothing worse than that, man. And we got a war brewing. A lot of battles, a lot of arguments turned into war in the Bitcoin community. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're going to talk about today. What is up, guys? It is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. We're at the Bitcoin block height of 910,770. TikTok, next block. Now, I'm going to warn you in this video. If you are a snowflake, or if you don't like getting down to the nitty gritty, or maybe curse words or truth, or if you're soft, sensitive, this video may not be for you. Or if you get triggered easy, this video may not be for you. But we got to do it, so you've been warned. Anyways, guys, a lot of stuff brewing in the Bitcoin community on the base layer itself. It's funny. I see all these people talking about Bitcoin and how much it's going to be in this many years and how many sats you need, and I'm guilty of that stuff. But when I first got into Bitcoin, I had to figure out if it could be stopped, right? How can it be stopped? When I was a precious metal stacker, deciding on whether to put most of my money into my savings and my energy into Bitcoin. And through hundreds of hours of studying, I realized that there's really no way to stop it, right? There's no way to stop it. I was like, okay, governments can't stop it. Larry Fink can't stop it. I'll get into him in a minute. I said, all right, well, can't be stopped. Unstoppable network. But I was wrong. It can be stopped. How can it be stopped? Well, if you understand Bitcoin and what it is on the base layer, right? It's a monetary system for the internet. It's money, a digital money, a scarce money for the internet. But how does it work? Well, we have blocks that I named before. We're at 910,770. That's how many blocks have come out since January 3rd, 2009, since the Genesis block. And in those blocks, there's a tiny bit of space in there, relatively speaking, to other, shit coins, including the US dollar. And there's only a certain amount of space in those blocks that you can have transactions in that. And the only thing that should be in those transactions, and this is not my opinion, if you want a monetary network, you want money to be in those blocks as transactions. Should be money, should be Satoshis. Well, there are people that are bloating the network with things other than money. And if it's anything other than money, what do you call that? It's called spam, right? If you have an email account and people are putting in things that you don't want in your email, we call it spam, right? Or somebody, keeps doing things that you don't like, we call it spamming, right? That's what this is. And the people at the base layer, the Bitcoin core developers, not all of them, but I call them the rogue ones, because those are the ones that are going against the grain. And I don't mean rogue in a good way. The people, our founding fathers of this country, they were rogue as well. They went against the tyranny of Great Britain back in the 1770s and went against it. And this is what the Bitcoin core developers, I call the rogue ones, are doing today. And what are they doing? They're getting paid to put spam in the blockchain, which will clog up the blockchain. And eventually, if this keeps happening, if we keep putting things in that is not a monetary transaction, aka Satoshis, JPEGs, anything that is not a monetary transaction is spam, because some people act like they don't know what that is. If we keep doing that and allowing that, they can stop it and then fork it and then use their own little Bitcoin and say Bitcoin fork, if you will, like Litecoin tried to do, and Bitcoin Satoshi Vision and Bitcoin Cash did. And people will decide not to use it anymore, and it'll be co-opted by the likes of Larry Fink. When the announcement that the SEC in 2023 announced that ETFs can buy Bitcoin, a lot of Bitcoiners were scared back then, and rightfully so. Why? Because they thought Larry Fink was going to co-opt and take over Bitcoin and maybe fork the Bitcoin, fork the chain, or fork another chain and start a new one. And it's like, nah, you can't do that, and blah, 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 blah. Well, he can do it this way. He definitely can do it this way. If he buys over 700 something thousand Bitcoin and then pays the people at the base layer, the core developers. These are the people, if you have a Bitcoin node, or if you don't have a Bitcoin node, if you do have one, you know what I'm talking about with the Bitcoin core developer. If you don't, basically the Bitcoin core developers are people that run the node software, and we need the nodes to keep our beautiful network decentralized. The more nodes we have checking all the transactions that come through, and when the miners mine the Bitcoin, because there's different mempools, if you will. There's not one mempool like Matthew Cratter talks about. And we're to have a lot of people checking and having it decentralized and keeping the block small. That way people like me and you can run a Bitcoin node at home, not like, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision that got big, huge blocks. This is what happened in the block size wars. They wanted big blocks so they can make quick transactions instead of going through the 5 stages of money slowly but surely. And the 5 stages are a collectible, like a savings, and then medium exchange, unit of account, and then global reserve currency or global reserve asset. Bitcoin Satoshi Vision and Bitcoin Cash decided that now we want to skip that. It's supposed to be for money, and we're supposed to use it for money. And they made the big blocks, and people at home couldn't run the nodes because there was too much space. It was too much data, and you just can't run a node like that because it's just too much data on your little nodes or your computers or wherever you're doing it on. And that's what they're doing now. The limited space that we have, when you download the blockchain, when you first run a node, because all nodes are basically just a copy of the whole entire blockchain from January 3rd till today. If you got a bunch of spam and nonsense in there, number one, it's going to take you a long time to download it. Number two, it's going to bloat the chain, and it's going to disincentivize people from even running a node. And three, it's going to disincentivize people from transacting on the base layer of Bitcoin. And people are just not going to say, well, I'm not going to use this because it's too slow and blah, blah, blah. And I know we got lightning and stuff like that, but if you're bloating everything at the blockchain, at the base layer, and you're messing that up, the base layer of Bitcoin, then you've lost the plot. You've lost. And I think that's what they're doing. And people are going to decide to go somewhere else. And I think they're going to try to make a Bitcoin 2.0 or something like that with Larry Fink and these boys. I always wondered, when I told you in the beginning, why or how we could stop Bitcoin. And I was looking at outside sources, right? I never even thought about Bitcoin Core as a entity that would stop it, because I'm like, well, they're base as hell. They have no incentive to stop it. Kind of reminds me of the United States of America, right? Even though America is a, big, strong, rich economy, great country. We have a great military. We got nuclear weapons. We're the strongest, probably the strongest military in the world. As you've seen what happened with the B-52s and that other country they bombed. But what gives us our strategic advantage more than that is where we're at on the map. If you look at a lot of these European countries, and I'm not getting all into this, guy, I'm just giving an example, so don't, get all butthurt about it. I'm gonna use an example, then I'm gonna go back to Bitcoin, okay? The United States geographically is in a good place versus a lot of European countries that are surrounded by just countries, right? Enemies, friends, whatever. The United States is surrounded by 4 things: the Atlantic, the Pacific, Canada, and Mexico. It's very difficult to attack us because clearly, we got nukes and we got a lot of defense systems overhead of us with our planes and stuff like that, and our military and our technology and everything else. We don't have an Iron Dome, but how would you attack? If you had a plan to say, how can I destroy America? Well, the best way to destroy is from within. Is to buy off the people that quote unquote work for the people, aka the politicians, and then let other entities or enemies come in, aka open the border and legally let these people in, illegally, if you will. And that's what happened in 2021 in January. And God knows who is still in our country right now because of that. And that's how they're attacking our country. Well, and I've always said America has 2 enemies. Enemy from within, and an enemy overseas. Well, that's what's happening with Bitcoin, I believe. I believe Bitcoin definitely has a lot of enemies from without, but from within, when you buy and pay for these people like politicians in America, some mostly Democrats, some Republicans and neocons and the like, you incentivize these bad actors and these individuals to do things that go against the Bitcoin core values, if you will. And I believe that's what some of the devs are doing. And they're going rogue by doing that, meaning they're going rogue. They're going against what Bitcoin is all about. Why in the fuck would you let spam on the blockchain? Why are the miners letting this stuff in? Why are the Bitcoin core devs doing this? Why? Because it's incentives. They're making money. Money. Short-term money. And I'm not thinking long-term. Everybody knows that's been in the Bitcoin for 1,000 hours or more and a few thousand blocks, tens of thousands of blocks. You know that Bitcoin ain't about the money, bro. When it comes to number go up and stuff like that, okay? It's not. It's about the revolution. It's about the freedom. And it's about ending tyranny of the money printer and what the Federal Reserve is doing. And once you understand the problem, and it's not just America, it's all over the world, but particularly it's America because I live in America and we are the, global leader, economic leader of the world, and we are the global reserve currency. And we're printing a bunch of dollars or a bunch of energy because that's what money's supposed to be. It's supposed to be hard to get, just like your energy is hard to get and hard to put out there. When they can just press a button and make dollars out of nowhere and break the laws of thermodynamics and physics, then that's a problem. And Bitcoiners know that this is the solution. So why in the hell, again, with these rogue actors, whether it's a mining company, node runner, hell, anybody that's into Bitcoin and knows that it's happening and still running Bitcoin core and not saying anything about it, because ignorance is not an excuse. Why would they do that? Because these people are greedy. So we are in a war, ladies and gentlemen. I read about, and I wasn't here when it happened, but I read about and learned about, because you got to know your history, right? Obviously, I wasn't around during any, the Civil War of the 1800s. I wasn't around, obviously, during the American Revolutionary War, but I was around for a couple different conflicts. But when it comes to Bitcoin, I wasn't around during the block size wars that I mentioned earlier. And that was a big deal back then. And people made it a big deal. But for some reason, in the block size wars, like I said before, they were trying to figure out, some of the Bitcoiners were saying we need to keep the block small so we keep it decentralized and keep regular people to have nodes so they can download them and have enough space on their computers to download them. and take it slow. You know, the 5 steps to money slow. But the big blockers, like, no, we need the blocks big. Who cares about the individuals downloading nodes? They didn't care about decentralization. They just care about making it a money, like Satoshi Nakamoto said in the white paper, you know, peer-to-peer cash system. And they took those words literally. But now, again, we are in a war. This is not the Bitcoin, this is not the block size wars, which it kind of is. It's a spam war right now. This is a spam war. Whether you want spam or not, it's really that simple. I like to break stuff down very, very simple. So you're either on the side of, you're okay with spam coming in on the Bitcoin blockchain, on the network, in the blocks, and taking up valuable space. Because again, just like Bitcoin, at its core, the finiteness of the 21 million is the same as the block size. There's only a certain amount of block size in every block. So you have to be very, very careful. Now, relatively speaking, there's not a lot of people on the blockchain right now in the each block, because again, Bitcoin is a tiny market compared to the global market of 900 to 1,000 trillion, whatever it is. There's only 2 point something trillion in Bitcoin. But when you look at the spam inside the blocks, you look and you say, okay, well, this guy's looking at me. You look and say, well, how much space do you really need, right? How much space do you really need? You need all of it. You need all the space for money only. Because again, in the future, when we have more transactions and the market cap gets bigger and more people and entities start using the base layer of Bitcoin for big transactions, large money movements and stuff like that, we're gonna need every little space and inch and gigabyte we can. So if we start letting this shit in now at the small level of a $2 trillion market cap, then it'll be okay at a 200 trillion. And I'm not okay with that, man. So here's my call of action to you guys. What side are you on? If you don't know what I'm talking about, join my live tonight. If you don't really understand it, we're going to break it down a little bit. I'm going to break down Simply Bitcoin's video that they made a couple of days ago about this, about Bitcoin Core versus Bitcoin Knots. Bitcoin Knots is another version of Core ran by Luke, a one-man army. And it's basically the same thing running the Bitcoin Core with your node, except they don't allow the spam in there that the Bitcoin Core does. They just don't even give you a choice whether you have it or not. The new update, I think it's in October, makes you put spam in the from the mempool to the blockchain, to the blocks in every transaction. So I'm not saying knots is the way. I personally do run knots. You know, I do. Is there going to be something better in the future? I don't know. But Bitcoin Core ain't it, ladies and gentlemen. It's not it. So join me tonight on my live at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And we're going to break down that video, the Simply Bitcoin video, and Matthew Cratter's video. Matthew Cratter is a guy I trust very, very much. I've learned so much about Bitcoin from this man since 2020, 2021. And I used to listen to him before I got into Bitcoin for the other things. So I trust Matthew Cratter, and I've done my own research as well. And I listen to Matthew Cratter every single morning. You know, I do my meditations, my prayers, I do my stretches, and then I get up because I'm a fiery guy. I'm a fighter. And there's a lot of bullshit going on since 2020. And so I get fired up. So to calm myself and zen myself, you know, I do my prayers and I do my meditation, and then I listen to Matthew Cratter. And then I put my proverbial Iron Man suit on and I listen to him every day, because he is the University of Bitcoin University. He's taught me so much. He's the one person that taught me the most about Bitcoin. Now, I did disagree with him about Trump when he started talking about him in 2022 and saying that they're the same as everybody else. But, you know, he kind of changed his tune on that a little bit. But, you know, he's been talking about this stuff, this Bitcoin Core stuff, He's the first person that brought it to my attention a few months back. And this is even before the Bitcoin conference. And I wasn't going to go because I really don't like things that David Bailey does. I don't. There's nothing worse to me than a Bitcoiner that pretends to be, or a shitcoiner that pretends to be a Bitcoiner. And I'm not saying they don't like Bitcoin, but they put their own personal, you know what I'm saying, money making, or their personal aspirations over the network and over what we're trying to do here. And they go rogue and they try to work as individuals. Bitcoin is a team effort. It's the best team in the world. And I'm asking you guys today to make a decision and a choice. But first, educate yourself. What decision and choice? I'm asking you guys to run a node if you haven't already. And if you are running a node, and if you are educated, please stop running Bitcoin Core. They are the antithesis of what we're doing here in Bitcoin. If you're worried about the future and stopping the system and this broken system, we need to stop the enemy from within. And Bitcoin Core, the developers, the devs, and some of these miners, and again, not all of them, but the bad actors, we need to stop funding them, and we need to stop using their programs. And hopefully we can pull away the good Bitcoin Core developers and the good miners to stand up against the bad miners and the bad rogue actors in the development, Bitcoin Core development team. So I'm asking you guys, please educate yourself. Stop running Bitcoin Core. Consider running Bitcoin Knots or something different than Bitcoin Core. Run a node, make your voice heard, and stand up against this absolute nonsense and tyranny. I'm telling you, man, the only enemy I feel like we have is from the outside, but they're co-opting the people from within. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And again, guys, listen, we talk about this all the time. How many sats it's going to take to do this, and how much Bitcoin you're going to need to do that. You know, and that's cool, but again, it ain't going to mean shit if these people beat us. And the only way we win is if the information is out there. It's a lot of propaganda out there. A lot of people that's fence riders, like, oh, I don't know, I don't know which one I want to do. Don't be a fucking fence rider, man. Be a person that stands for something, man. If you love Bitcoin, don't be a fucking fence rider. Either be with the spammers or join us, the freedom fighters. My channel's called Jerry Loves Freedom. Again, I don't love freedom because I love Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin because I love fucking freedom. And that's the way it is. And if you love freedom like I do, then obviously you love Bitcoin. Stand up and fucking fight for it, man. Don't let these people win. Don't let these people destroy the only way we're going to save our families and our country and humanity. Don't let them fucking do it, man. Be a fighter, however which way you can do it. Whether it's information, running your own node with knots, telling other people, whatever. You can start with sharing this video. I'm self-funded here. Just like a politician, when you look at them, you look at who pays them and how they vote. Well, I vote for Bitcoin. I buy Bitcoin every hour on the hour. Every hour on the hour. I smash buy on the first of the month. I smash buy throughout the day. And I run Bitcoin Knots and I make videos representing the freedom fighters. And if you want to join me, feel free to donate if you want to. Or also you can join the membership group, the Bitcoiners for Freedom group on Signal. You just got to become a member on YouTube and join me there. Listen, guys. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. I got all these neighbors out here looking at me like I'm crazy. Because I am crazy. Be the crazy one. And you must stand up and fight against this system. And you must stand up for the only way we're going to break this system. Pay off the national debt. Stop inflation. Bring humanity back. Bring these people to their fucking knees. These evil characters that run the money printers. And your family will be thankful you did. And they'll be building statues of you in the future for stacking this money. And if I had to take a guess, I'm pretty sure you guys already know what that is. It's the best way to save. And for me, the only way to save. and that's Bitcoin. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.